Nestled along the winding Copperhead River in South Carolina, Huntsville Ridge was the kind of town where everyone knew everyone. Churches echoed on Sundays, and football reigned on Fridays. Founded in the early 1800s, the town had a rich history of farming and community gatherings. The community thrived on its close-knit relationships and simple, joyful daily life. But in the spring of 1979, the rhythm was broken. Children started to vanish, and what followed would shatter the town's innocence forever. The disappearances began with a whisper, a rumor that spread like wildfire. Parents held their children a little closer. Locking doors and windows, and streets that were once filled with laughter grew eerily silent. Huntsville Ridge was no longer the safe haven it once was. Community meetings were held, and parents took turns patrolling the streets at night. Kendrick Hall was 10, quiet, curious, loved by his family and friends. He sold candy at the gas station to save for a skateboard. His mother often worried about him. On April 2nd, he never made it home. The community rallied to search for him. 2 days later, hikers found his body at Riverbend Dam, strangled. The news devastated his family. His shoes placed neatly beside him. The community held a vigil in his memory. His death was ruled isolated. The police assured the public, but the parents of Huntsville Ridge began locking their doors tighter at night. The community formed a neighborhood watch. By fall, Kendrick was no longer alone. 5 more children, mostly black boys between 9 and 14, vanished. Some were never found. They were students, athletes, and dreamers, each with a story cut short. Others turned up weeks later, near empty lots, creeks, and rail yards. All bore similar signs: bruising around the neck, defensive wounds, clothes missing or rearranged. The community's fear grew as parents clung to their children, hoping to keep them safe. Luther Payne was 23, a loner with a love for sound design. He ran a DIY pirate radio show, Southern Frequency, and often walked around town with a recorder, sampling sounds. He said he was scouting young voice talent for a children's radio series. Some thought he was harmless. Others thought he watched the kids too closely. Luther grew up in Huntsville, often seen tinkering with electronics and recording devices. He was known to be polite but kept to himself, rarely engaging in deep conversations. Some community members reported seeing him in places where children gathered, raising concerns about his intentions. The community erupted in outrage and fear. Candlelight vigils turned into protests, with residents demanding answers and justice. The police, once dismissive, now faced intense scrutiny from national media and federal intervention. Mayor Roland DeWitt declared martial oversight. Curfews, checkpoints, and patrols were established to maintain order. Despite the heightened security, there were no arrests and no answers, leaving the community in a state of unease. News vans lined the streets, and reporters interviewed worried residents, amplifying the town's distress. Federal agents scoured the river, while local police set up roadblocks, but the mystery deepened. On May 16, 1981, 2 officers posted under Copperhead Bridge heard a splash. They immediately began searching the area, using flashlights to scan the water. Moments later, a green station wagon drove away from the bridge. The officers pursued the vehicle. They stopped the driver, Luther Payne. He appeared nervous and agitated. He said he was recording water sounds for a horror audio project. The officers took notes and let him go. The next day, 17-year-old Marcus Dillard's body was pulled from the river. The discovery prompted a full investigation. He'd been missing a week. Detectives reviewed evidence and conducted extensive searches of the river and surrounding areas. Tests found fibers from Payne's home and car, green carpet strands, yellow dog hairs on Marcus's clothing. 2 other victims shared the same fiber match. Luther Payne was arrested for the murders of Marcus Dillard and 21-year-old Nathan Crowley, but he was never charged for the others, over 24 victims. The community was left in shock and mourning. Some called it justice, others called it convenience. Payne proclaimed innocence until his final appeal in 1997. Activists accused the town of scapegoating an eccentric loner to appease an angry public. Meanwhile, families of 25 victims still waited for closure. Today, Riverbend still whispers its secrets. A plaque stands in the school courtyard with 31 names. No new leads, no reopened cases. Just silence and questions. Did Luther Payne kill them all? Families of the victims still search for closure, holding vigils and sharing stories. Or was the real Riverbend strangler never caught? New theories emerge, but the mystery deepens with each passing year. In towns like Huntsville Ridge, sometimes fear buries truth, and sometimes it drowns it. The Riverbend case left a lasting impact on the community, with memorials and tributes held annually. If you or someone you know has tips on cold cases in South Carolina, contact the local cold case unit. Thank you for watching. The unresolved questions continue to haunt Huntsville Ridge, a reminder of the mysteries that linger. Leave a comment. Subscribe for more true crime stories based on real events. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.